This is analog and digital communication systems. The paper code is EC501. Total number of contact hour is 36. The contact per week is 3 lectures, and the credit is also 3. Myself, Dr. Indranath Sarkar, Associate Professor, Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering at JS College of Engineering. Welcome to Analog and Digital Communication. This is Module 5, Digital Modulation Techniques. There are 5 course outcomes of this subject. The first one deals with, it explains the importance of analog and digital communication, that is the modulation and demodulation schemes. In this case, we are very much interested to grow the knowledge of the student towards the basic definitions of the modulation and demodulation part. The second course outcome deals with the analyze analog communication system for their signal to noise ratio, efficiency and bandwidth, because whenever students are dealing with the signals, they are very much interested to know about its power that can dominate the noise over the channel. So that is why signal to noise ratio plays important role for analog and digital communication, as well as its efficiency and bandwidth. When the signal is received by the receiver, the accuracy should be as high as possible. The third course outcome statements is to compare the advantage of various pulse modulation technique and analyze their system performances. And the fourth one deals with demonstrating signal representation. So this is one of the most important part of the course, that is how to represent the signal or signal constellation, because once the signal position is known, therefore we can describe the noise margin or noise cloud around the signal vector tip, so that the amount of noise that can contaminate the signal will have a prediction. So that is one way to check the communication system suitable for a certain area. Analyze various digital communication techniques, can compute the bit error performance and compare their advantages and limitations. So this is the last outcome, which is dealing with the efficiency of the digital communication system, in which the bit error rate as well as several types of error cases, that is type 1, type 2 errors, will be discussed here, so that students will be able to demonstrate such factors. There are 5 modules in this subject. The module 1 deals with the introduction, where the introductory concept of the communication system will be discussed, and thereafter the basic knowledge of the analog communication and digital communication and their correlation, that is interdependency of those two communication system over the timeline. And the second module deals with the random processes. The random process it deals with certain mathematical examples as well as principles, in which the statistical characterization of the signal will be analyzed. And the module 3 deals with the pulse modulation. The pulse modulation basically analog communication technique, and it is also the bridge between the analog and digital communication technique, because the pulse modulation produces pulses corresponding to instantaneous magnitude of the analog signal. Several categories of pulse modulation are also to be discussed in this module. And thereafter the module 4, which is signal vector representation. So if signal vector is properly represented, then we can predict the amount of noise that can contaminate a particular signal, whether the signal will withstand with respect to that noise or not. So all these things could be predicted. Digital modulation techniques will be discussed here, and differential pulse mode modulation to shift keying techniques, all these things will be discussed in the last module. The prerequisites of this analog and digital communication is the knowledge of signal vector representation, characteristics and of additive white Gaussian noise, geometric representation of signals, synthesizer and analyzer, signal vector, signal space, Euclidean space, etc. And this is the corresponding COPO mapping for the analog and digital communication. There are 5 course outcome statements which are related to the program outcome vertical with 3 different weightages. The first one is the highest weightage, numerically 3, medium weightage is 2, and the lowest weightage is 1. So why it is 3 given? Because program outcome 1, 2, 3 are the corresponding knowledges of engineering, as well as program outcome 10 and 11 deals with the communication and project management and finance. So in this case we are giving higher weightage to each of these course outcome mostly, and there is a low weightage are getting program outcome 5 and 6 because it is the theoretical subject in which the modern tool uses and engineer and society impact are less, and almost environment and sustainability, ethics, these are coming less to this subject. So depending on that, this COPO mapping has been introduced. The course objective of this analog and digital communication is to familiarize students with the fundamental of analog and digital communication systems, to provide students with tools for communication signal analysis, to familiarize students with various techniques for amplitude modulation and demodulation of analog signals, to develop the students' ability to determine the effects of receiver frequency and phase errors in synchronous modulation systems, to familiarize students with techniques for generating and demodulating narrow band and wide band frequency and phase modulated signals, to familiarize students with basic techniques for generating and demodulating pulse code modulated signals, to familiarize students with issues pertaining to the transmission of digital signals over bandwidth limited communication channels. The topics to be discussed today are the geometrical representation of BPSK signal, the BPSK spectrum, the power spectral density of not return to zero data and binary phase shift keying, error probability of binary phase shift keying, differential phase shift keying. Now this is the geometrical representation of binary phase shift keying. The BPSK signal in terms of one orthonormal signal, which is represented as square root 2 by TB cos of omega 0 t. Now why we are representing the orthonormal signal in terms of such mathematical equation? Because it is showing that the normalized power is unity for such signal. If we square it and integrate over the bit duration, we can find out the overall power of this orthonormal basis function, which is acting as carrier for binary phase shift keying, is unity. Now this binary phase shift keying can be represented as the product, that is square root PS TB multiplied by the binary signal BT, which is polar signal plus 1 volt or minus 1 volt depending on logic 1 and 0, and it is multiplied with square root 2 by TB cos omega 0 t. So basis function is multiplied to this signal, that is the binary data signal. So therefore finally we can represent the binary phase shift keying signal as the product of the square root PSTB and the binary data BT and the U1T, that means the carrier signal, or you can say the basis function. So these basis functions are, we should remember that their normalized power is unity, and the distance between the two number of symbol after modulation is 2 times of square root PSTB, because square root PSTB is nothing but the magnitude of the modulated modulated signal, that is after binary phase shift keying we are getting the magnitude is square root PSTB. The polarity shows one is logic 1, another is logic 0. So on the right hand side we are getting logic 1, and on the left hand side we are getting it is logic 0. The binary phase shift keying spectrum is one of the important part for the binary phase shift keying, because the spectral characteristics has many information unveils regarding the probability of error calculations, regarding the noise immunity of the binary phase shift keying. So here the binary phase shift keying spectrum uh, shows that the binary data BT, which is not written to 0, which makes the excursion between the PS, square root PS. So square root PS is nothing but it is representing the square root value of the normalized power of the basis function with respect to the power spectral density capital G suffix small b f, where the GBF expression is given as the product of PSTB into square of the sine of pi f TB divided by pi f TB. Now these equations are mathematically derived. There is the power spectral density, which is one of the important part of the binary data. That is, if we integrate this power spectral density over the known frequency range of the baseband signal, we can get the total power of the binary data. So binary phase shift keying, which is BT into square root 2 PS cos of omega 0 t, is the not return to 0 multiplied by square root 2 cos omega 0 t, that is plus minus square root PS into square root 2 into cos omega 0 t. Now the spectrum capital M of j omega, it is the nothing but the spectrum of the baseband signal, which is the Fourier transform of the message signal MT. Then the Fourier transform of the product of the message and the carrier signal cos omega 0 t, we can represent as it is the half of the part. The part is shown by the addition of the spectrum, which is centering at the carrier frequency on the right hand and left hand part. That means it is the upper sideband and the lower sideband part. The upper sideband is represented by M of j of omega plus omega 0, and the lower sideband is represented by M of j omega minus omega 0. Now this the binary phase shift keying spectrum can be easily pointed out. Now it's a mathematical equation. It is not a one-time solution. It has been derived by several steps of the mathematical process. We are seeing here in one line, which is the PSTB by 2 multiplied by a part. The part is represented by sine of pi f minus f0 TB by pi of f minus f0 TB square plus sine of pi f plus f0 TB divided by pi of f plus f0 into TB square. So these are representing the upper side frequency and the lower side frequency for the spectrum. So therefore we are getting the overall knowledge of the binary phase shift keying spectrum. Now this is the power spectral density of the not return to 0 data, and afterwards we are getting the same for binary phase shift keying. Now what is the exact difference of these two spectrum? Now when the data is not multiplied with the carrier signal, at that time the raw data spectrum is centered at 0 frequency. So that is why we are getting the sinc function, which is representing the binary data is centered at zero frequency, therefore the maximum magnitude is PSTB, and it is having the first frequency cut at FB and thereafter 2 times of FB. So therefore the most of the power is concentrated in the major lobe, which is from minus FB to plus FB, but there are little amount of power contribution from FB to 2FB and thereafter 2FB to 3FB. Now here one thing we need to note, which is very much important, is that though there is a very small amount of power contribution beyond the bitrate FB, which is unwanted, but we cannot suppress drastically by using a suppressing filter, because if we suppress them instantly, then what will happen? It will contribute to the time domain. So that means the time domain representation is fixed and also frequency domain spectrum is also fixed. So if we chop out the frequency domain spectrum, that means we are entertaining increase of time domain representation of the same spectrum, and which is unwanted. So that is why we don't need to suppress abruptly, but we can suppress using an equalizer, which will reduce the gain of such extra frequency beyond the required bitrate FB. Then only those compensated power will be boosting up the major lobe, which is centering at zero frequency from minus FB to plus FB. Now regarding the power spectral density of the binary phase shift king, which is shown bottom, centered at the carrier frequencies Fc and minus Fc. So these spectrums at the bottom, it is clear that they are much away from the zero frequency and they are centering at the carrier frequency. Therefore the range is F0 minus FB to F0 plus FB, and we are getting a wide range of spectrum component, because here the amount of power contribution is much more compared to the baseband signal. Now the error probability of binary phase shifting is one of the important part of the discussion, where the binary bit is 0, for which S1t equal to a cos 2 pi fct plus theta 1, where the theta 1 is equal to 0, and if b equal to 1, S2t is equal to a cos 2 pi fct plus theta 2, where theta 2 is equal to pi. So this 180 degree phase shift for another bit is important because it identifies the transition. So therefore we should be careful about the. Now we can get the clear idea for the BPSK signal. Now here the S1t is equal to a cos 2 pi fct, which is equal to square root 2 e by t cos of 2 pi fct. Similarly, if we go for another logic data, for which S2t is nothing but the inverted part of S1t, which is clearly showing here minus a cos 2 pi fct minus square root 2 e by t cos of 2 pi fct, that is the antipodal signaling. Unlike other M array phase shift king, that is m is greater than 2, we can represent this special form of BPSK signal as one-dimensional signal. The basis function is given as phi 1t is equal to square root of 2 by t cos 2 pi fct. Trend is 0 to capital T, and another part is phi 1t is equal to 0 if we do not consider the range of time is within the bit duration. Therefore the optimal receiver has the following form of block diagram, where the received signal and the basis function are fed to the product modulator, which is integrated followed by low pass filtered using the Euclidean distance decoder. Now here the sampling is made as shown by the symbol R in between. So therefore multiplier followed by the low pass filter and thereafter decision device represents the general nature of receiving the synchronous data. Now the error probability of binary phase shifting is another important aspect, where we can assume that S1t is sent under the assumption of additive Poitt Gaussian noise, the received signal RT is equal to S1T plus WT. The output of demodulator is the integration of the product of the received signal and the basis function. Now this shows the integration is made on the uh, addition of signal and noise, and it is multiplied by the basis function. So therefore the received signal is nothing but the algebraic summation of the transmitted signal and the additive white Gaussian noise. Therefore this output of demodulator may be resulting in square root e plus n if it is logic 1. For logic 0 it is minus square root e plus n. Now the error probability of binary phase shift keying is ultimately showing that b equal to 0 for plus square root e and b equal to 1 means minus square root e. So these are the magnitude mapping for the binary data, and thereafter the decision regions are the estimates of logic 1 and logic 0. So therefore we are setting some basic idea for those fundamental considerations. Now here we have two possible alternatives, therefore we can use a zero threshold detector as an optimal detector. Now let the probability of error denote the error probability, which is probability of the estimate is equal to 0 provided logic 1 is sent, plus the probability of estimate of logic 1 provided logic 0 is sent. These are equal to probability of the estimate of logic 0 for sent probability 1 multiplied the probability of the binary bit which is sent as logic 1. Similarly, we have to add the probability of the estimate of logic 1 when b is equal to 0 multiplied the probability of b equal to 0. So in this way we can get probability of b equal to 0 is equal to probability of b equal to 1, which is equal to half. We already have considered. Therefore probability of b equal to 0, that means the estimate of b is equal to 0 under logic 1 transmitted is equal to probability of estimate of logic 1 provided 0 is transmitted due to symmetry. Under the assumption that b equal to 1 is sent, r equal to minus square root e plus z. So therefore probability of b cap equal to 0 and for b equal to 1 equal to probability of received signal is greater than 0 under the transmitted data is equal to 1, which is the integration of probability of received signal provided logic 1 has been transmitted. Now the error probability of binary phase shift keying can be determined by using the spectrum which is shown here. Here two type of probability density function is shown. There is one is for logic 1 and another is for logic 0. For logic 1 the center random variable is at plus square root e, but for logic 0 it is at minus square root e. So therefore for probability of estimation in favor of logic 0 provided logic 1 is transmitted is the integration of 0 to infinity function of r by b equal to 1 dr, which is equal to 1 by square root pi n0. Thereafter integration of exponential minus r plus square root e whole square divided by n0 and it is integrated over dr. So all these things are following the Gaussian distribution of noise. So therefore ultimately we can find out the q function for which is defined as q of x is equal to 1 by square root 2 pi integration x to infinity e to the power minus y square by 2. Therefore the differential phase shift keying, if we concentrate, we can see more or less the same signal as binary phase shift keying. Only thing is that the coding technique which is used at the transmitter before modulation is something different from BPSK, and it is having many advantages in differential phase shift keying. So this is the nature of the encoder of the differential phase shift keying, and is showing that how the differential encoding is made. if we consider the data bits are 100010, therefore the binary data will be initially logic 1 and thereafter it is -1 because it has a transition. Now here it is showing that decay is equal to 100010. It is nothing but the logical data which is represented by the binary uh, 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 magnitudes of the voltage, that is logic 1 is represented by +1 volt and 0 is represented by -1 volt. So that is why for every decay there is a corresponding bk, and as there is a XNOR gate which is representing the DPSK encoder which is producing AK from the knowledge of A of k minus 1 and bk. So therefore what is A of k minus 1? It is nothing but the 1 bit delay of the output data AK. Now whatever is the output data, that means differentially encoded data, it is multiplied with the carrier signal so that the differential phase shifting signal can be generated. Now this is differential phase shift king which is almost equal to binary phase shift king, but the difference is that in such a manner the differential phase shift king produced reduces the complexity of the receiver compared to the binary phase shift king, because here we do not require any signal synchronizer to find out the carrier signal from the incoming DPSK, whereas we need a time delay path of the receiver signal. That means the received DPSK signal required to be multiplied with another version of the DPSK signal which is one bit delayed signal. So that is why there is a time delay circuit present in the DPSK receiver which is making 1 bit delay of the incoming DPSK signal, and it is later multiplied with the incoming DPSK, so that by comparing the time delay version with the present DPSK signal we can determine the logic levels of the binary message signal, and this will reduce the receiver complexity. So here is the example of the receiver circuit in which the delayed version of the transmitted signal multiplied with the transmitted signal. Therefore whatever signal we received, the product has been low pass filtered and thereafter decision making device, so that we can easily extract the logic level of the transmitted message. So this is all about today's presentation. In the next presentation we will move forward with more discussion on the shifting technique. Thank you.